Good day everyone, my name is Anna from 1ITB and our group will be presenting a simple multiform Java swing, and this will demonstrate to you a crude application for students' personal information. But first of all, what is CRUD or the CRUD? C stands for create, R stands for read, U stands for update, and D stands for delete. And you can expect this kind of functionalities and components in our program as we move forward. Okay, so moving on the code, you can see here bunch of imports. So these imports are very vital parts of the program. These imports are the classes that we have here for us in able to declare certain components and make it function on how we wanted it to function. Upon creation of JFrame, we also declares another frames such as the frame login, frame add, update, and so on. We also have here string objects, modals, tables, buttons, and so on. After creation of the program, we have here the condition for exit. That is only for or when the user taps the exit button at the top right corner. If the user clicks that, it won't terminate the program immediately. It would rather shows the user a confirmation box which the user have to decide whether to continue or not. And if the user chooses yes to exit, that means the program will terminate completely. And if the user chooses no, of course the program will stay as is it. It won't or literally won't do anything. Now as we move forward on the code, we have here the table. It has a scroll pane so that if there's bunch of information already, rows of information, columns of informations, we have the scroll pane to help us see everything up until the bottom of it. We also use a J separator. What is this J separator? As we run the program, you can see here a line underneath the student record detail label or above the J table. That is a J separator. It's just for separating aesthetically pleasing, like for a layout designs. That's how it works. That's the functions of it. That's how we use it rather. We also have here a K gradient panel. This panel allows us to choose two different colors of our choice for the panel to look pleasing or make it the whole program or the layout of the output user friendly, unlike the boring dull default colors of the Eclipse. That's why we downloaded K gradient panel. Now as we move forward, we also have bunch of labels here. We have also labels here that has photos or image icon. We use the J label to declare certain photos to make our layout output more pleasing. And as we move forward, we have here button MVC and button programs. These are by default is enabled for us or for the user to see what's inside of the mission vision core values. That stands for the MVC. That's why it's button MVC. As we tap this buttons on the right side on that brown underneath the about us, if we tap anything of those buttons, it will show another JFrame that has the information of either the MVC or the programs offered by the pamentasan ng Kabuyao. Now moving forward, we also have other buttons here such as the button add, update, delete, and login of course. But first of all, we have here the button add, which is disabled by default, which will be enabled if the user logs in first. And even if the user tries to enter or clicks the update and delete, it won't do anything but would rather just show a notice to the user that there's no existing data to update or delete. Now, if we try to log in, let's log in first. It will show a JFrame login or the login frame, which will allows the user to log in their credentials. There, after tapping login or login rather, it will show a message dialog box saying that the login is successfully. After logging in, the add record button will be enabled, and it allows the user to input certain information. If we tap that, it will show the JFrame ad, wherein users can input the information, of course. And that's basically everything on the mainframe. Another one, if there's certain lines already of information, certain rows or columns of information on the table, the program will now allow the user to update or delete it. And if the user taps the delete after choosing or selecting a certain row of information, the update will show the same, almost identical to the add record frame, but the difference is the buttons that it has inside it. Now, if the user chooses the delete won't delete immediately. The information will first show confirmation dialog box again, like on the exit or logout button, whether the user continues to delete it or not.
I am Charisma Ponce Azores from 180B. In line 35 from line 61 is the private method used to declare a different component as well as some component that is accessible only in the declared class. While the line 63 to 83, as you can see, there is a private method that declares a string object for the JComboBox model that will allow the user to choose which department he or she belongs. The user also allows to input the program available depends on what department they choose. It also includes the specifications of column of ID, last name, first name, middle name, sex, date of birth, age, college, and program of the user. You can also see the declared integer for ID and allows the user to choose the location of a birth date. In line 89 to 109, you can set the title of a frame. We also use the gradient panel to make the color of a panel gradient instead of a single dial color. You can also notice that the J label and gradient panels is in absolute layout. It also includes the button for exits that set the text which allow the user to go back to the main form. You can also notice that the background of the exit button is highlighted. The action performed in the line 114 to 124 will show the message dialog whenever the user click the exit button and confirm the user want to exit and go back to the main form and dispose the frame if the condition is met. While the line 128 to 161 is the declaration of new button for new, save, and cancel, as well as its performance action in cancel button, that every time the user click the cancel button, it will automatically show a message dialog and confirmation and clear the control if the condition is met. It also includes another set of codes which is the new save and cancel button is set in the same color of foreground, which is black, and light gray for the background, and added the save and cancel button to the gradient panel. In line 163 to 182 is a declaration of a J label for record count, college, and program, which is called and set the text. It is used for the specification for the table. When choose their college, department, and program, it will automatically put on the table. As you can see, the J label component is set enabled false to disable the label with white foreground color and added to the gradient panel. From line 184 to 202 is the declaration of JComboBox program, college, and J label for sex. The JComboBox program and college have a choices that whenever the user chooses his or her department program, they will also allow to choose their program which where the choices is depend on what college department they choose. The J Combo Box and program in J Combo Box College has no foreground color, while the J label is white. And also notice that the three component is added to the gradient panel. The line 204 and 224, this code is the declaration of the radio button of the sexes, which is the male and female. And you can see here the output on the frame update. There are radio buttons for the user to choose what is their respective sexes. You can also see here there is a declaration of button group, the certain line of code which allow the user to choose only one radio button of the sexes. And for it to happen, we declared the line 214 and 223 RDO sex that add open parenthesis RDO male close parenthesis and RDO sex that add open parenthesis female, RDO female and close parenthesis, which means that the radio button male and female in the button group is in the button group already. Whichever inside the button group only allows a single choice. The reason we have to declare this certain line to the radio button of the sexes.
We can also using a J-level tool calling a settling the component age number, student ID, date of birth, ID, last name, middle name, and the last one is first name. Then it has a J-label font color, font specification, and also disable the J-label. To the set bounds, X cos horizontal to Y cos vertical, width and height, and adding a gradient panel to J-label. It allows to make the color of the panel gradient instead of the single dull color. For the J button, to calling and setting the component of calculate the age. To set bound X cos horizontal to Y cos vertical, width and height. Then it has a font color and also disable the button. Adding a gradient to button vertical, width, height. Then the font color is disabled the date chooser. Adding a gradient panel to date chooser. It allows to make a color of the panel gradient instead of single color. Text first name, text last name, and middle name. We are also calling the JText field. Then the JText field has a font color and background color. Specification when the input to JText field is our key listener. The condition of get key character is the action is performed. Then, if his action is performed is met. And also disable the text component. Adding gradient panel to text field and add key listener. It allows to make a color of the panel gradient instead to single dull color. Then, the scroll pane we calling the component to the set bounds of X cos horizontal to Y cos vertical with a height and adding a gradient panel of J scroll pane. It allows to make the color of the panel gradient instead of the single dull color. And then we setting the J table. We set model info to J table and calling a public boolean edit cell at. Then the table must be returned false. Background color specification TBS student info. It allows to single the index selection only. Then the set view must be settling in the viewport of scroll pane. It can replace the column. It allows us to make the color panel gradient instead of single dot.
Good day, sir. My name is Kenneth Joseph B. Basilisco. I'm from 1ITB, and here are some the codes that I will explain. So, the BTN button calculates. Show a program works by selecting year and display. So in this code, the BTN calculate indicates selecting the year and display your age information, whether your age is correct or not. So, this from here, sir, it indicates that when you select the year, then it reflects to your age. Then, when your select is the year and the age is wrong, the running code is never work. So whether because it's also show the change in case it's a wrong according to your old age. The, then next is the combo box. So the combo box show it's the if the department you choose is also this course that will appear or indicate, for example, CCE. CCE is represent the College of Computing and Engineering. So it belongs to the BSCE course. Then when you choose CCE, always indicates the BSCS. But when you choose CCA and it indicates that BSEED, the code that you input is wrong. Because the CCE it indicates in BSCS. Whether the Sabros J button represent where you can save the data or human identity. You can create it and keep in mind can also change it by a BTN update. So meanwhile, the new J bottom represent where you will create new data or student identification. Here is show the number and the quantity of the selection. You can make as many as you like. So, and when it comes to the settings of the save role condition, here you can see that was you wrong or lack the type or declare of the variable, the word please complete the field will automatically appear. It just means that you did enter correctly to make the program short, the the setting clear controls condition. When you're done or complete your code, automatically you can clear all the application or the data that you input into the frame add bottom. The frame add bottom show that that how many can you add in the data it will represent in the code.
I am Crystal Jindia and I am from 1 ITB. In the BTN login, there are codes that declares string, patterns, and matches. It is used in both username and password. If the username and password is not matched, there is a message dialog that will pop up and will say, use correct identity. And a show message will also pop up if the username and password is matched, and it will say log in successfully. And if you click OK to the bottom button of the message dialog of the login successfully, the frame will disclose itself. In the BTN cancel, click the BTN cancel and there will be also a message dialog with a message, are you sure you want to exit? And if you click yes, it will automatically terminate itself. And in the BTN toggle, we apply conditional statement to show the input of password of the user. If the condition applied in BTN is met, the password will be shown or hide. If the condition in if is met, in the password will show, and when the condition in else is met, the password will be hidden.
So in this line of codes, we can see a JPassword field named txtPassword. Inside the txtPassword, we can see the key typed event that has a if statement, which indicate that if a character is not a digit or alphabetic character, it won't acknowledge the key type character. Another event is the key released event. Inside this event, we can see the declared string and pattern object and a declared matcher. It also has a if-else statement, which indicates that if what's inside the TXT password doesn't match with the declared string, which is admin. There is a label below that will turn red and show that the password type is invalid. And if it matches the label, it will then turn green and show that the password is valid. Another event is a focus gained and focus lost event. These events put a word inside the TXT password, which is password as an indicator. This event also hides or changes the characters into an asterisk. It also highlights TXT password. The next line of code is a TXT username. Inside the TXT username is almost the same with TXT password. The difference is that TXT username is a JTEX field. Like the TXT password, inside the TXT username has a declared string and pattern object and a declared matcher. Likewise, with the TXT password, there is a if-else statement which indicates that if what's inside the TXT username doesn't match with the declared string, which is also admin, the label below will then turn red and show that the username is invalid. If it matches, then the label will turn green and show that the username is valid. Same as the TXT password, TXT username has a focus gained and focus lost event. This event highlights TXT username and puts a word username as an indicator. The rest line of codes are just labels to the frame.
A pleasant day to you, sir, and to my respective members. So, my name is Ferrer Alastero from the group of Samante. So, let's now proceed to the frame update and what it's functioning to our program and how it help the user to update their personal information. As you can see, there is a private and also public static. It is to declare every components like JPanel, JText field, and etc. And also we declare a static default table model. It is to save all information throughout this frame update. And also we declare the default combo box model. It is to display the college department and also their programs. And there is a column that will be the header of the JTable and an int ID that will generate an ID to the frame, and the boolean is new that will check if it is new and is update or it is update. Declare a JLabel, a JScroll pane, and also a JTable that will call a model from the framing. And also there is a public boolean edit cell add. The purpose of that is to block the user editing the JTable. That's why it's returned false. Purpose of the mouse listener or mouse click, it is to display the information of each component where the user inputs their information in the first place, so that they know what are the improvements of their personal information by showing it to the program. We declare only JLabel that will display the word records and buttons that will go back to the main form if the user didn't want to update their personal information. Therefore, they will undergo to the framing. So let's now proceed to the button update. So as you can see, there is an action listener and an if-else statement. So if the user selects a row, therefore it will proceed to the update and it will display to the ocean pane that it is updated. And if the user didn't select any row, therefore the message dialog will show in the program that you cannot update, there is no existing row.
Hi sir, I'm Mala Bravo from 1ITB. So for the button cancel, is it to display the button to the program. The program result in some action when the button is clicked. And then adding the label to the gradient panel. We created JLabel's first name, middle name, last name, program, sex, student ID, and college that all have as position and sizes. It also has a color white, which is the label font color, font specification, and then adding the label into the gradient panel. The purpose of the gradient panel is to input components to the gradient panel itself and display them to our program. We created a JText fields middle name, first name, and last name that have a position and sizes. It is also have a font color and background color specification. As you can see, there is a key listener in every JText field. The purpose of the key listener is to prohibit the user to type numbers. That's why it has an exclamation. Each component has its functioning. The purpose of the button calculate is to calculate the age of the user depend on his or her date of birth using date chooser. For the J combo box, this code is the declaration of the combo boxes of the college and program. You can see here the output on the frame update. There are these combo boxes for the user to select what is the respective department and course.
Hi sir, good day. I am Julian Luis A. Magarao from ITB. Here I explain the frame update. CBO College, we add the add action listener here to if the user clicks the combo box, it will automatically show the models and the programs that being attached there. Here we use the if and else if statement. If CBO college gets selected index to 0, CBO program set model CEAS, CBO program that set selected item. We use the set selected item if the user is selecting the item, and it will automatically if he choose or she if he or she choose the BSEED, the program of this course will pop up the other parts of this program. And else if CBO gets selected, and 0 CBO program set model CBAA, CBO program set selected item BSBA. As I said to the first the first as I said to the first, if they selected BSBA, automatically the model of the BSBA will pop up in the combo box. And next is the button calculate. Here the button, and we add the action listener to run. And here the public void action perform. Data choose equals data chooser get date. Local choose equals choose to instant a close parenthesis that at zone ID system default to local date. Here I explain here the ID and the calendar, the date. We add some calendar here. In here it will declare current local date. It will declare the local date here, the button calculate, if the user click the button, and if he or she change the date, it automatically declare current local date. In also in age 2, declare the integers and display calculated age in label. And button cancel, we add action listener. We add the add action listener, and here if the user want to cancel his declaration, it will automatically cancel it. Declare an integers and confirmation dialogues box of action perform. Here we add the message. As you can see here, the do you want to cancel Message option, yes. Here, if the user is want to really to cancel his declaration, here is the checker, also known as the checker, the boolean part, where if the user want to cancel it, it will pop a message if you want to really cancel it. And yeah. And next part is the button exit. We add action listener here. And here, I explain that here, if the user want to exit the program, there will be pop up a message that are you sure that you want to go back to the main form. If he want to go back to the first frame, uh, if you click the exit button, this will be automatically pop up in the screen if he or she really want to exit the frame. And the down, okay, and this next is the private void update row. We declare it in the downside of the program. Here the private void update row, as you can see, these are the declarations for the update row. We use a if else statement, and these are the declarations. If RDO mail is selected, condition is set, add action perform. If condition is met, collect and set the text of the string sex. Action to perform if condition is not met, collect and set the text as string sex. Sex equals RDO female, it will collect the integer. Select row, yan, TBL student info gets select. If the user click the RDO male or female, it will automatically pop up in the table row, the J table. Update row. If the user want to update her declaration or her status, here in the update row, here are the declaration, the frame main, the model student info, that set value, text last name. If you want to change your last name, it will automatically change. If just click the username part or last name part, and it will change automatically if you want in what kind of name. Next is the private void clear control. Set label text to 0, txt last name, that set text null, clear text input in text field, txt first name. Here in the clear control, it will automatically clear the word or the data of the user. If you want to clear all her or his information, and yeah, all of the LBL ID, the last name, first name, middle name, male or female, college or program, so the information. If you want to cancel all of it, if you want to clear, and it will clear all. And that's all. Thank you, sir.
So I am Eliza Samante from 180B, and I will discuss the frame MBC, or the frame for the mission, vision, and core values that can find in the about us of our program. So here we just add some information about the School of Pamantasan ng Kabuyao. So you can see all the import Java swing or the package here. So the purpose of this is to provide interfaces that will enable the development of input methods that can be used with any Java runtime environment. So there are package for JFrame where all the components are added. There are also package for JPanel, color, and etc. So the last part here, or the last package here, is the K-Gradient panel. So this package is new. So the usage of this is to enable a gradient colors to the program. So we download the jar of it and add it to the components of our design so it will be visible to the program. So let's move on to the frame MBC. So frame MBC was self-default close operation to dispose only. So the main frame will not exit to. So the frame MBC also has a J panel wherein it contains different class. It provides space in which an application can attach any other component. So we also again add the aggregation panel. We also add different JText area for mission, vision, and core values and set the appropriate text for those text areas. So the purpose of text area was to display plain text. It is intended to be a lightweight component that provides source compatibility with the Java out. So we also add JLabel for mission, vision, and core values for users to identify the text area if it is for mission, vision, or core values.
I am Catherine Asuncion from 1ITB. We created a new JFrame that will appear in the screen whenever the user clicks the button for programs in the main frame. To call the JFrame that will show the programs, we declare a public class frame programs. To show the list of programs and courses in PNC, we use the JText area and labeled its variable as txta programs. And to fit the list of the programs in the size of the TXA programs, we set the wrap style word to true and set the editable property to false so the contents of the text area will be on read-only style and the contents will not be changed. After modifying the properties for our TXA programs, we use the method setText to put and show the list of the programs and courses in the text area for the user. Since this program and courses will occupy more spaces that will not fit in the size of the text area, we use a JScroll pane so the user will still be able to read the other programs and courses in the JFrame programs. The K-Gradient panel serves as the component used to put and show the proper background of our frame programs in order for it to become identical to the background of the main frame.